أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين ngaman saba man saka lanki woten to ngaje ya en balonde fonfuta da nyunyo wato la aman fa man fen wo feren din kenna tenturo ni jeyro ko la mbe junube kafaro nin tanko dan labul mol yemel ya lon ko binyol lungo imama be no wato la siyo kamala fo asin so junube kafaro la kullo junube banke junube ngamello junube to malo ngabara na joya kama alama ala ya kafar ni asakin ni balaji da farmot asilajon so ne ndi akisin nemo dila melbe nemo kono nemo jide melbe nemo tano kono asibon dije ay dundal aljano kono mbadi ngam yan ko lungal konton al token do la anal konton senon la kabilin ko na fokato bakara flo bela dindin keba muskafrin ke melbe banko kan anin melbe banko e bantala alnal badi ma lamin sadam sanya aka badi mansa mba falali assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu ma dingol nimme na titleoji bi ngame safije walanko I don't blame Tamina Biyayi the way he is behaving because I believe that he is suffering from frontotemporal disorder FTD in frontotemporal disorder dolka faye frontotemporal dementia wala nyenti comme dole bi jama keba koto la ka wala mutabake miliyalan ko comme nin keba tata fo wati do isaje hakilo sondomo ka munnan dindi yato akati na kodolu biji kanyina wala wamban kodolu biji ike fo imanya me yalon ko normal in normal circumstances ito fola amman kodolu biji ke me yalon ko in normal circumstances ito kela dementia. But this FTD, frontotemporal disorder or temporal dementia, 60% of people are kamel will see okatara between 45 years and 64 years. 60% of the people suffering from frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia, they are between the ages of 45 to 64 years. And Nina Rakuls, Tamina Biyayi, Afanala age is between 45 and 64. This is proof one. Me kajal sa alamoy hakilola, alkana alamoy ning gisola. But mbe sa alamoy hakilola, me monfala. Pour mbe mfanne ma koy kan. Pour un salo mu mosi fala be nyato. Andon salo tolinyanta muneke la sai. Men sin tankano, ando men sa te fana tankano fana. So in frontotemporal disorder, muna wati. Atalo ko akake muneke akamuneke it damage akake is alarisol kakement damage to the neurons in the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain. The brain in different lobes in the but there are 4 major lobes, and in those 4 major lobes fulabeje me yalonko frontal lobe and temporal lobes will be wala joint kera janka diamo menna wala tiko frontotemporal disorder, frontal lobe and temporal lobes. So that two joint, frontal and temporal joint kan jang iko frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia. But nyato domande mbina woto fana bondela li nyoto le domandi. So yeah, nying ala possible symptoms on me ke ge isi sotono medol fulale woto fana. Walkono it's including unusual behaviors. Menga jele Tamina Biyayi is having unusual behaviors. Wato dobe ning ata amanya do like isafo ko he nyimu annabi ombol. Wato dobe isafo nyimu salihino. But wato dobe isana nyim fae how to call it, what kalamin bang what bang I nyamol sab. Ala different behaviors are called litande. So yeah, nyim nyimfana symptom wala be wala ko including unusual behaviors symptom wala ko nyimfana be je emotional problems afala be symptom wala ko mbiya jala emotional problem wala soto wala atina emotional problem so much so that lungo men nal kari member no abe doctor sisi jabi la wato men na aka fo we because what ala emotion be jamento abe kamfara juso but he was having a really big emotional problem at that point. And because of what emotional problem ni na takol wala di wato do be na be diam kan aka kamfe ka ja ka bulo fa sande ka me na komen nin je ko ya na akema ne wonde musolo muta je no la be o senka mol man seto silo ka ka bulo wala nyame wato do be na be diam ka bulo ko nyame because of emotional problems men aso. And that's another symptoms of this frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia. Among other words, you also have trouble with communicating. Trouble with communicating. And no, nobody can dispute that Tamina is having trouble with communicating. Either in a sentence form, either even in a sense form. Kila hakilo use ko hakilo maya kafo. Ba woto fana mina woto nyato domande na diamo nyinkono. So these are the things and the reasons why I'm not going to blame Tamina by the way he is behaving. Then I diagnosed them. And this is what I believe in it. I could be wrong. But this is what I believe. Not diagnose yale. Because ni na ta chube. Ko ngamen about this frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia PTD. Ni na ta chube. Muna mu what no be fali nga explain correctly. I think everybody will understand it. I do my best because when the count when the count but the nana best try to explain in a way that for Allah fahamu sina futaje where the little me atinko ndala mirror on in Nigeria this man is suffering from frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia. And the little landi symptom la carola. There is symptoms. All symptoms nkafo. Ninga fo nkafali ya daji ko toloko ya ji nyin symptom ko daji ko men vola nyin daji ka kafin do nyin daji ka kan ngaw su daji ko to. So woto daji ko mba baji ko to ni oni nyin symptom ni jube e kalon ne ko to nya nyulde they are intact. So woto ya itan no symptom nyin ba daji ko to. Ngabo je ngata another symptoms ni na ta jube na symptoms gelle fo. Symptoms of this frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia. How many symptoms nga men fo jang meli alon kanati daji ko matched. A lot of them ibena daji ko matched. So what way I itande na ko na mira roto na londindingo men soro na do ko la karon. Nsa fo ko this man is suffering from frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia. Because no one taka ak nyamata ak no la ujama. So al sa la moy hakilola al kana la moy jusola ala la moy hakilola an kamen fo ali ye mira anin ka daji ko men fal anin yin na symptomo and you combine them together al fanga la decision of al fay al al badi malam lamin sadam sanya aka bali mansa mba falali assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi taala wa barakatuh. Yo amenta komen ko da la ngani tan la komen ko you have different types of lobes in the brain, but among the four major lobes, the frontal lobes is the largest of the four major lobes of the brain. Yenana o frontal lobe jubi. O frontal lobe wala katara comme brain yin fongola area. Yale ka comme bagro fongo timidiro ya fongola jamen ka walate. Yin frontal lobes yin katara world. Yin frontal lobes atela do ko munet. What is the responsibility of these frontal lobes? Because this frontal lobe, it's responsible for control over many abilities, including the way you think, how you move, and how you remember things. Lamod, frontal lobes. Atela responsibility is among or including the way you think, the way you move, and how you remember things. The way you, including the way you think, because normally, in normal circumstances, more like you think and then act. But sometimes, most of the, not sometimes, but most of the time, he act and after he think. Because why he acts and then he thinks. He never used his own brain to think. But he is using the brain of his people surrounding him. At a janaki ala own brain user think. Without using his, because damen bala brain within these frontal lobes, this other subtle where tina temira no la directly but no fonga ko mira nga jude ni na kulara wala nga ka jande na ka funtila ya fate nyama na ka funtina wala the most of the time akala nala ministers nala mole misinformation on it. I know misinformation kana to misinform the public about it. So afterwards I found I realized, hey, yaranga bomotel na ke ba do la to buka bomotel ni over isama sa yaranga kasotel afana ka to kasite wala jinsi fa lote. Because point dame ya lonko abenyin frontal lobe singono get this other solo problem all of. So what I think that thinking about and the more allow thinking your problems all your move will have problems. Because you wouldn't move according. And then from there, responsible how you remember things. How you remember things, there is some disorder in Tamina Biyayi's brain, in his frontal lobes. Because wale atina, akanadu la ata kumo fujang, ay munna wodula kilometer sando wambankar do wamba lokundo, the same place to the same people ay kuma kilom fuja afang na kumo fanya yandi. He always keep on contradicting himself. Because as scenario la afale ten. Na bota ja muta nan koteke akanyina na completely ay men fo nanjala abina kuma dola fo na membi ya lon ka be contradict la again abe kuma dola fo kuma be ya lon ko be contradict la again. And because of that, what ka fon contradict what nyame member what wala yin sabuko, this man is having frontotemporal disorder, frontotemporal dementia, because yin is another part of symptom of it. It's part of them. Yana temporal lobes, very frontal and temporal. Konga funyame ye wole join together equal frontotemporal disorder. That is the frontal lobes and temporal lobes. Ilado kwe wole ikamenke la responsibility ni wol kaf ñoome responsibility moment ni wole problem o soto wole ka frontotemporal disorder cause. So ngal how to call it frontal lobes yo sangana temporal lobes. Temporal lobes, the temporal lobes of your brain is a pair of areas on your brain's left and right side. These areas, which are inside your skull, near your temple and ears, they are playing another role. Walka role mu role si fala play hadamande ngola brain yin kono. Hadamande ngola moyato. Ika role men play well. Number one, managing your emotions. Two, processing information from your senses. Three, storing and retrieving memories and understanding language. Yena ori fana. Pour que le fana do man bon na le yo. Audio la jam foka. Managing your emotions. Jela ka mola emotional manage. Where to make emotional always is intact. But whenever there is a disorder in it, as frontotemporal disorder, frontotemporal dementia, disorder ni men kataraje wala atinela emotional be careful emotional control no. What the emotional control bali an kawle jaji koto day and night. Another role is processing information from your senses. Wofana there is a disorder in it. Wele atinam ala sensisol buka function correctly ko nyanta function nyame ka kuol prioritize ka kuol mila janni ba kala ka kuol tenten ka juwe ni ngam fo abe na mola be mun la le kan emotionally, mentally, physically as a mun keno he mbadun kala nyinke because nin ko men nyinkela sama na banko mola be kala nyaade nim ko men nyim fula sama na banko mol mu banko ko tangol be jela nyaade nta fa wala dimba yal mol be jela jaba hannin ta te jam ko mo be kala nyaade ya jela. That processing of that information from the senses disorder nyimbe wala ta bukol fana keno correctly. Another one is storing and retrieving memories and understanding language. Memories what are because ni memories bala biya ta fa jan dundun sama ita fa jan danda. Because brain damage kauto ma ni ko jan dunno ko ba fa danda sa no ke ko de kuno ko jan dundu isa esi ariero te fa yamo ya fa ye dunno. No. Because disorder level of brain now joined. Because of that disorder, because of that frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia member akon wala atina ko jan dundun sawa se mun ya ta jana fu je danda ta lonna comment ko what is the difference between that dundun and the danda that he was saying to the people. Yeah, in symptom often molka cool don't misunderstood. For example, family members will and friends will they think, hey, this person is misbehaving. They don't take it seriously. But if they don't take it seriously, that misbehaving, it is leading to anger, and that anger is leading to conflicts. That anger is leading to conflict. Because of that behavior, it's leading to anger. Go anger sudala diam nyato mobile. Nobody can dispute that. Ala diam nyala anger yinka fintinye fo mobe kalong ye yimbe kafal. And that's part of the symptom of frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia. Wo anger nye wale atina. If you could remember, prior to mayoral election, I believe, Buva sonota akala moleko alisi fundi masa kundantele bala koma mendi atala ala fali yake mbala koma ngala ba anga nyela the same anga la tinga benyi tomen koruto bilafuna badiba ka foi ko woto fana ko nima nyela kirwana. I'm not very much sure. I'm ready to be corrected, but nima nyela gela maka foi damen na ko al fundi MPP ko nim ya yal ning alien ning ale sabi gale kelen dimbal ko man tamaso kunda ntela masa kunda ndumbal ko man bal fasala that leading to more conflict and it's part of the syndrome because nyaton ka kendo wamba me fanki nyaton ko de hani se fanki nyaton ko ti nyaw nyaton ka kendo ka menke janni ba fole la mole ko al funtale kelen ita fole ko mbe luwa banko to nimme yal ne ngali samba luwa to ngata kikyo to for example misa dawo ka kenya nyaton ka kendo ka wala andu yite fawol ka boss ka foko ite la marta tolla anin oppositional be kafro so wato ni wa be ke to ite ni utolling oppositional be kafro mu ite la dimbayal wato ni ko la npp ko le ko nimme yal ndeng teng wata fo alfana ko wata alfana kana nyuru ndeng hada alfa tilin dum kama wala bal alfa jenkeron ko tafo alfa jenkeron ko montayga wala kan ni sifa ni lafta tonya sabatin lebe wala kelam but ko back to topic ñing mu symptoms le me yalon ko ñing frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia is part of the syndrome me yalon ko akañing cause ñing frontotemporal disorder or frontotemporal dementia often it's divided into 3 categories. Number 1, you have behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia. Number 2, you are having primary progressive aphasia. And number 3, you are having movement disorder. And you sabo Biyayi be sort. I sabo be sort. But B, I just only want to talk about the first one. But you sabo be, believe me, if I go one by one, nobody can dispute it because I'll be shooting. But the first one among them go frontotemporal disorder in number 1 behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia me wal talaje mbe diamla wala bi mbe diamla wala bi because ni na taw kono behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia wala kono fala go ya juba kamuneke. It involves in changes of personality. Mobe o sute Tamina Biyayi kotolo. Biyayi fin sama e ko sininda e netamu. Changes of personality. Yin is another symptom of behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia. Changes of personality. Changes of behavior. No follow. Konga explain often is part of this. And changes of judgment, behavior and judgment. Judgment jang abe menke ka manje komenko kiti moto kiti menke. But komenko ateka mol jube tena wamba kemira mola la emol joj kalbeten le. Without having any clue, without having any proof, without any truth in it. No. Akemira tenga kaola kadunte bafla kallano. Kamira kalnyol bit kalbit meyal ko tonya ta kono ngil bebe symptom on ko this frontotemporal dementia ala symptom on ngin bebe wala kono and the model meje meli ko they having this disorder may have problem with cognition ika cognition problem of la sotola and the moto deny no la Tamina Biyayi karola. And they also having problem in planning and sequencing thinking through which step come first and second. Which step namanke simfanya ma you can take that also as an example. Sinju mala follow bita bulubala for mala which step one bang komen kap kuolu la enyanta kata nyame. Nibe ko kele nyinga nyanta follow la okola nyi na ki do kola ka nyi na ko diamola ka ro safero la kalo. He has having problem with that also, and that's another symptom of this frontotemporal dementia. Another symptom there is also difficulty in prioritizing tasks and activities. Nkajele is prioritize everything. Ala do ko Kenya, ala ko Kenya, he is misprioritizing them. Memu banko di wala priority. Abuka wal ke do ko Kenya. Atakaji bele membenta fe. Whether that is the priority we need, is priority that is needed or not, woman can't have a problem today. So more can I blame? It is part of the symptoms mbala, this frontotemporal dementia. Najero don't call it. And among those symptoms also, repeating the same activities or saying the same words over and over. Wolfana is part of the symptoms. Moka men soto no nyinkono. Lungo jako na ta ala to auto na wulda. Mulam daboten UDP thing, daboten UDP. He is repeating the same thing. Nga nyina doku, nga salodo, nga silodo, nga salodo, nga salodo. He is repeating the same thing. Nga karamu ngoki wile kile nga karamu wilu nga karamu. So saya halala insilo for. Ako klasi room tang akawal dala every day, meaning some kono classroom kemelu classroom more 520 classroom a year kaka walalo because classroom 10 a week, 52 weeks in a year, 52 by 10, it is 520 classrooms in a year. I mean that the more. So yeah, the nymphana is part of the symptom. Repeating the same activities and the same words over and over and over. And the symptom of the acting impulsively or saying or doing inappropriate things without considering how other perceives the behaviors. Ibe kumo fola wambe kuol kila without kemi la kavo he nte be nyimmen keka wamba be nyimmen fokan abe munati nyala kare bala wamban karnyulo wamba nyin kafkara wamba nam banko molo abe bulala ine mune foni position abe mune kelela physically, mentally, emotionally abe mune kela molo ebe ko miro so because brain damage yalon ko sama mandika hey kana nyin keten kana nyin foten disorder be wolto wala ta abe ko miro so na te ka anata la nyako la kono nyama aka fo le nyama. It's another symptom of this behavior, of this frontotemporal dementia.